Hagen Circus, the show of shows. The public, awaiting the gala opening of Hagen Circus in Sydney, little dream of the strange drama being enacted in the lives of the family behind the scenes. For Christine has met Grant Andrews, and believing his promise to give himself up to the law, suffers further disillusionment when she learns it was merely a trick to escape once more. Even more serious is the fact that the police are searching for the woman who warned Andrews, and the family believe that the dwarf, Louis Little, knows this woman to be Christine. That night, in the hope of penetrating the secret of the locked chest in the dwarf's room, Jim Cameron and Gail Hagen go to Little's apartment. They are surprised by the giant Dutchman Hansen, and a terrified Gail rushes to her father and Dr. Playford with grim news.
Daddy! Daddy, quickly! He's killing him! Stop them! Oh, Daddy!
Gail!
Daddy! It's Hansen! He's got Jim in that room! You've got to do something, Daddy! Jim will be killed!
Good heavens! Come on, Edgar.
Oh, Daddy, look! He's choking Jim!
Hansen! Hansen, you big fool! Stop it!
He won't listen!
We'll have to pull him off. Come on, John.
Hansen! Stop it! Do you hear me? Stop it!
Grab his shoulder. Oh, it's like trying to move a rock. Get him round the waist. Now, use your strength, John. Pull! Pull! Get out! Now.
Oh, thank heavens you've come, Little. Another few seconds and this monster would have choked the life out of that boy.
Oh, Jim! Jim, oh, Jim!
See to him, Edgar. I think he's in a pretty bad way.
Rudolph, what is the meaning of this? Answer me, you fool! Answer me when I speak to you.
Louis,
You made me a solemn promise, Rudolph. You swore a solemn oath that this kind of thing would never occur again. Give me your mouth organ.
Louis, 9. Listen to me, Louis. He was at the trunk.
The trunk?
Yeah, he wasn't here with that woman. He was bending over the trunk. I saw him, Louis. He had this in his hand.
A chisel?
In his hand it was, Louis. I swear to you, he was trying to break open the trunk.
Miss Hagen, is my partner telling the truth? Well, Miss Hagen?
Yes.
Gail, for heaven's sake...
Never mind that, Dad. What about Jim? Dr. Playford, he's not...
He's all right, Gail. Unconscious and very bruised about the throat. But he's all right. You mind if I take him out to bed?
I'll help you.
No.
But, Daddy, I've got to.
Edgar, you can look after the boy. I want you here, Gail. Can you manage, Edgar?
Yes. Don't worry about me, John.
Now then, Gail. I want the truth right out here in front of those men.
Oh, no, Daddy. Not here. I'll tell you, but not here. Not in front of that horrible man.
Gail.
I'm going to Jim. He's been hurt. I know he has. I'm going to him, and no one's going to stop me. No one.
Gail!
Mr. Hagen, although it appears that I have been the victim of a felonious entry, I understand how your daughter must feel. She is very obviously upset.
All the same, she's going to tell me the truth about this incident.
I quite agree with you. Sanctity of property is one of the traditional rights of the Englishman. Incidentally, I wonder how they got into the room at all. Rudolph.
Yeah, Louis.
Did you lock the door when you went out with me?
Yeah, Louis. Just like you tell me. See, I keep the key in my pocket. Always I keep my hand on it, just like you tell me.
Where is the key?
Here, Louis. See?
And when you came back, this door was open.
Yeah, and he bent over the trunk, and the woman is beside
Never mind
him
about
and...
that. No doubt there will be a full inquiry into this peculiar incident. I must say, Mr. Hagen, sir, that I'm frankly amazed to find a member of your family indulging in such extraordinary practices.
You're not nearly so surprised as I am, Mr. Little.
I can only hope that there is some natural explanation for it all. Youthful curiosity, perhaps. I might also say that the young man is extremely fortunate to escape with such slight injuries. My partner is very zealous when it comes to guarding my personal property. Who is that?
It's Playford.
Come in, Doctor. Come in.
I thought you'd like to know the boy's come to his senses. He wants to see you, John.
Yes, and I want to see him. Is Gale there?
Yes.
You'd better come with us, Mr. Little.
Certainly. But could you give me a few minutes to set this room to rights? It looks as though a cyclone had swept through it.
Oh, let me help you.
No, my partner and I can do it. You have much more important business to attend. Where will you be?
In Mr. Cameron's room.
Very well. I will join you in a few minutes. Now come, Rudolph. Stop sulking in that corner. Put that table back and straighten those chairs. Dear me. One is completely shattered. A most unfortunate business. Most unfortunate.
Come in. Now, come in, Mr. Little. You were quicker than we thought.
I left my partner tidying the room. Well, I see we are all here. I am very glad to hear, Mr. Cameron, that your injuries are so slight.
I'm all right.
Gale. Jim. I've asked Mr. Little to come here so that you can explain to him in person the reason you broke into this room last night. You realize, of course, the seriousness of what you have done?
Yes, Mr. Hagen.
What steps Mr. Little will take as the result of this disgraceful business depends entirely on him. And, I think, on your reasons. Jim, why did you do a thing like that? Well, was it just a silly prank? Or did you do it out of mere curiosity?
Oh, no, Daddy, we
did it merely out of idle curiosity, Mr. Hagen.
Jim!
It's no use denying it, Gale. We did a very stupid thing, and we've got to take what's coming to us. Or at least, I have.
No,
I want this understood, Mr. Hagen, right from the start. The idea of entering Mr. Little's room was mine, and mine alone. From the first moment I suggested it, Gale was firmly against it.
But, Jim,
That's true, isn't it, Gale? From the beginning, you tried to talk me out of it. And when you wouldn't help me, I said I'd do it alone. You must admit I'm telling the truth.
That part of it's quite true. Yes, but...
So you see, Mr. Hagen, and you too, Mr. Little, if there's any trouble following this, Gale isn't implicated. It was my idea, and she was only in that room because I practically forced her to accompany me. And Gale can't deny it.
But, Daddy, Jim isn't telling you the whole
Be
truth.
quiet, Gale.
Daddy, you've got
I
to
said
listen.
be quiet. Now, Jim.
Yes, Mr. Hagen.
You admit not only to entering Mr. Little's room, but also trying to force open that trunk belonging to him.
Yes.
In heaven's name, boy, what made you do a thing like that?
I wanted to see what it contained.
Yes, but why?
Why, I've told you, sir. It was just stupid curiosity.
Daddy, listen to me. It was...
Gale, I'm warning you. If you interrupt us once more, I'll send you to your room. Now understand that because I mean it. You admit yourself that this was Jim's idea. And it's no use you're trying to cover up what seems more and more a disgraceful piece of foolery. Now, Jim, you say you wanted to see what this trunk held.
Yes.
Well, wouldn't it have been much simpler and certainly more honorable to ask Mr. Little?
Really, I had thought I made it very plain what was in that box. The idea of there being any secrecy about it is quite absurd.
I agree. Frankly, Jim, I don't think you're telling me the truth.
Of course he isn't, Daddy. He's trying to defend me.
Gale, go outside.
Oh, Daddy!
I will not have these interruptions. This business is unpleasant enough without your confusing everything. Edgar, take Gale outside.
Come on, girlie.
But, Daddy, you don't know my side of it
I'll
yet.
hear your side of it later.
Come on, Gale. You can tell me all about it.
Mr. Hagen, may I make a suggestion?
Certainly.
The nut and kernel, as one might put it, of this whole unfortunate business seems to be that trunk in my room.
Yes.
For some reason which I am quite unable to fathom. There seems to be quite a lot of curiosity about the contents. I think the wisest course would be to satisfy that curiosity here and now.
But if you give me your word...
Certain people, apparently Mr. Cameron is among them, apparently do not place much value upon my word. They are satisfied only with the evidence of their own eyes. They imagine that merely because one keeps a locked trunk in their room, it must contain something quite sinister.
Now look here, little...
I'm not a fool, nor am I deaf and blind. I'm quite aware that this trunk has been the subject of much discussion, not only among your family and the troupe, but among the very servants who work in this house. One foolish girl even went so far as to suggest that I kept a body in it. Obviously, she's been seeing far too many of those horror films at the local cinema.
Oh, really, Mr. Little? This is no time for fooling.
I quite agree, Mr. Hagen. But it certainly is time that such stupid and fantastic rumors were laid to rest forever. One moment. Ah, yes, here it is.
A key?
The key to the sinister trunk. Quite like one of those ridiculous detective stories, isn't it? I want you to take this key, Mr. Hagen.
Why?
I want you to go back to my room, unlock the trunk, and take a good look at its contents. In this way, I trust that once and for all, this nonsense will be ended.
Well, this isn't necessary.
Pardon me, sir, but I think it is highly necessary. I only regret I did not do this earlier, but it never occurred to me that the business should reach so serious a stage. Now please do as I ask, Mr. Hagen. Go down and unlock that trunk. Right away.
Knowing what we do about Louis Little's true character, this sudden frankness is rather puzzling. And if John Hagen carried out the dwarf's request, what will he find? Follow this fascinating scene in the next episode of Hagen Circus, written by Max Appert.